Like, oh, that's how you do that.
How you do it for Johnny
Now
Cash.
I get it. But people actually listened to the lyrics when he sang them, and then I would get phone messages from people saying that, oh, and the lyrics to that song are great. And I would think, well, why didn't you say that to me 5 years ago? Because Johnny Cash wasn't singing them, is why. And we listened to him. So it was like that a little bit.
You did you write most of the songs that are known as your songs? Popular Soundgarden and.
I wrote a lot of the singles. I think most of the songs we ever made videos for, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the Outshine, Black Hole Sun, Fell on Black Days, Spoon Man.
Do you when you play those now, do you think like, holy crap, I can't believe I'm still playing this song?
Not really.
No?
And I'm not sure why. I think because there's been breaks in that period.
Yeah,
like,
true. You're not just out there pumping it out like that the whole time.
And there's so many songs. Like, if you think about it, Soundgarden, especially the last couple records, we could never agree on what songs should go on a record. So we'd go in the studio and record like 16 songs, and we couldn't cut it down to 10 or 12, so we would just put them all on it because that was easier than trying to argue.
Wow.
So the last couple records were really like double albums, and it's just because of the compact disc we could fit like 78 minutes of music on it, and then when we put them on vinyl, they are actually double albums. So there's a lot of songs, and there are songs I've been doing songs here and there that Soundgarden wrote that we never actually even performed, I don't think.
Yeah, it's probably different for like the Wang Chung guys. I think they're probably like, I can't believe we're still doing Everybody Wang Chung tonight, or Aha, Take on Me guy.
Right. Kaja Gugu.
Are they back together? My goodness. That would be a great triple bill.
Oh, hell yeah.
I remember the movie Live and Die in L.A.?
Yeah.
And Wang Chung wrote the theme song to that. Called Live and Die in L.A. And the video was great because they're not actually sitting with guitars and kind of writing the song. They're all just sort of writing the music, and there's a scene where they're kind of looking at each other, and one guy writes a note on the sheet music, and then they high-five. That was just the greatest 80s rock video moment ever. That's a great note. Give me some skin.
It's so easy back then to make videos.
No kidding.
You just needed a little fire.
Yeah.
And some high-fiving over notes.
But as an artist, do you listen to any of your old songs and wish, oh, God, I wish I could redo this? Like, there's a part in it where you just...
Most of it, like... The music and like the guitar sounds and what's going on sonically and the parts, I think are like better than I remember them. Sometimes I listen to the vocal performances and that bothers me.
Really?
Not all of it, but sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it sounds like it's somebody else, or like I've got some attitude going in there that has something to do with more than just singing the song. It's like it's not who I am now. And
do you have an example of that?
I would rather do that.
Wow.
A song we all know, or
there are parts of like the Louder Than Love record that bother me. I don't really know if I could say what song.
Yeah.
But like something must have been going on in your head at the time.
Like maybe I'm just sort of forcing it a little bit. Like,
really?
What I can do it, I can sing it, but it's like there's something going on there where it's like it's acting, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And I didn't notice it then, but all these years later, with the experience that I have making records and just trying to be myself with a microphone in front of me, I can hear that little bit of like, okay, here's a kid in there screaming his ass off, but there's like something in there that's not, there's something in there that wasn't entirely me that's coming out. Maybe it's tension. I don't know.
There is something about youth that will just make you do that, like balls out. And
there was a song I wrote actually called Cold Bitch that ended up being like a B-side for something. And I had it. I got it on my iPod. I took it off of Tom Morello's iPod, and I hadn't heard it in years. And it starts out, and it's very Zeppelin-y, and it's this big sort of cascading riff, and it sounds so great. And I'm just loving it, thinking, God, I wrote this song. And then the vocal comes in, and it's so high. It's so embarrassing. And I think that was probably like my masterpiece that never really came to fruition because I was such an idiot. I thought, okay, I've got this great range. I'm just going to sing way up there. and it's just silly to me. That was probably like 1991 or something.
You would even think like that, like, oh, God,
Yeah,
listen to me. Oh, what an ass.
It comes in, and it's just so bad.
Do you have any, like, stuff from way before you even started seriously playing, maybe with just, like, friends in a garage or a basement that you listened to, or would go like, oh, I couldn't even listen to that? Embarrassing.
I don't know if I have that.
Maybe like when you were really younger, like almost 80s-ish stuff, maybe.
I started out as a drummer, and there are probably some tapes of me playing drums on stuff. Not much, though.
Yeah.
But it wasn't very good, that's for sure.
No,
I do remember that.
No singing, though, with some real hokey, dopey lyrics or something like that?
No.
No, I was always a genius
Soundgarden
writer.
was my first band. I mean, there were some
Soundgarden's his first band.
That was my first band where I sang.
Suck.
It's true.
That's great, man.
Otherwise, it was drumming in, like, bad 80s bar bands. That's why Soundgarden happened, because, like, I ran into two other guys who kind of are having the same experience. Like, wow, if we're going to be in a band that we like, we have to kind of do it ourselves. And that was when I actually picked up guitar and bass and started writing the lyrics, because I thought, well, if we're gonna have good songs, we kind of have to do it. We can't wait for somebody else to show up.
Who was in the band when you were the drummer, and like where are they?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I was in probably 10 bands from 17.
Do you know what that's
21.
like to like be like, dude? Chris Cornell was our drummer.
Yeah, they're still talking about you.
They're still
talking about you at a bar
sitting
somewhere.
There Saturday night at the bar going, dude, let me tell you, our drummer was Chris Cornell. And they're like, yeah, shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
I was the singer, man. I was the singer.
Shut up. It's your turn to get around.
Yeah.
You're the top 8 on MySpace.
Yeah. Shut up. We're up.
Yeah.
We're up. It starts time.
Yeah. I used to have a great way of quitting those bands, too, which is I would say, and very sincerely, I would say, you know what, I just don't think I really am good enough to be in your band.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's a great way
like
to
you
do
guys
it.
are just a little bit behind. Because I was really young, too. Everyone was always older than me.
I'm holding you guys back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they would always look at me, you know, thinking, I don't know, if this guy's telling us. That was the only way I could do it. But really, as a drummer, I thought I had this romantic idea that if I practiced and worked at it hard enough, some amazing band would just kind of roll through Seattle and go, that guy's so great, we want him to be our drummer. And that didn't happen, at least not in Seattle. I mean, it was just never going to happen.
Yeah.
And Kim and Hero, the co-founders of Soundgarden, I met. One was the bass player, and one was kind of the fill-in bass player for one of those bad bar bands that I was in. And I met them that way. And neither of them liked the band, and neither did I. But we ended up starting a band together because we decided, well, we're going to have to, you know, figure out a way to be in a good band, and we're going to have to write songs. And if someone else can do it, why can't we do it? And then we spent, like, a couple years writing songs, and we had those like initial young band kind of awkward songs that had good parts but were sort of overdone, and some of them were kind of silly, and there was probably some embarrassing stuff in there.
Were you like influenced by anything at the time? Because Soundgarden is known to be one of those bands during the grunge period that was like, you know, wow, this is a standout band. Because it was a complete change of music. It went from that 80s hair stuff to the stuff you guys were doing.
Yeah.
Like, what changed that for you? How were you able to take that 80s stuff and completely get it out of your head and get into this new music? It's just so odd to me that...
We were kind of in, or wanting to be, initially, in what was a very healthy U.S. indie record scene at the time, which had bands like Black Flag and Bad Brains and Husker Du and Sonic Youth. And the one wrinkle that we put on it was, and maybe it's because Seattle was always sort of a guitar-based kind of place, we wanted to include 70s rock influences that we liked. You know, riff rock, old school, not necessarily like the 20-minute guitar solos and things like that, but heavy rock that we liked from the 70s, which was not really allowed. Since punk rock, that was sort of not cool. And I think that was a big part of what happened with Seattle, was just a mixture of influences. Like, we took aspects of older arena rock that were good and mixed it with more modern kind of post-punk music. And it just took a few years for people to realize, oh wait, that's okay. There are elements of 70s rock that are great. And what happened with hair metal was they sort of like they would see Led Zeppelin and they would take like the kimono and the dove and the light show and they would forget about like the fact that it was the best rhythm section in any rock band ever.